Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott and I'm your host today, as I'll be taking you through the most anticipated movies of 2025. Now, before we get into any of that, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we drop new videos. And they can be videos like this. They can be podcast episodes, video podcast episodes of our horror movie review show and our true crime podcast, along with news and updates and anything else to do with horror and true crime. You will find it here on this channel. Now, I'm not going to waste any of your time. Let's get straight into it. You want to know what the most anticipated movies of the year are? I'm going to tell you. The Fetus. This film follows Alessa, played by Lauren Levera. Alessa has discovered she is pregnant, but is very aware that something isn't right with the baby. After some really weird things start to happen, Alessa, with the help of her boyfriend Chris, played by Julian Curtis, tracked down her father, played by the fabulous Bill Moseley. I'm so excited to see Bill Moseley in this movie. I can't tell you enough. They try to get the answers of what's happening, but they get not quite what they're after. It's 100% worse than they could possibly imagine. The Fetus is directed by Joe Lamb in his feature-length debut, and judging from the trailer, I think we're going to get some pretty gnarly body horror moments in this. I think it's going to be very tense, and this is set to hit theatres sometime in the spring. I Never Forgot What You Did Last Summer. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this franchise. I make no bones about that, but it is highly adored and really anticipated amongst fans. I Never Forgot What You Did Last Summer is the working title for the Halloween-esque sort of reboot, requel of this franchise, where they're going to ignore all of the sequels and just make a direct sequel set 30 years later. Not much is known about the plot. We do know that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. will both reprise their roles, and it's going to be around the premise of all of the other films. I Know What You Did. That's kind of the premise. I know what you did, and I'm going to scare you, stalk you, and kill you. It's directed by Jennifer Caitlin Robinson, who wrote Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, I don't know what this installment is going to bring, but I hope it brings better writing than that. Whatever it does bring, I think it is going to please fans when it drops this fall. Five Nights at Freddy's was a box office smash for Blumhouse, breaking previous records that they had across the board. I'm not surprised we're getting a second installment. This film is setting itself up for success again, keeping the formula that made the first one work so well. So Josh Hutcherson, Elizabeth Lail, Piper Rubio, and Matthew Lillard have all confirmed to reprise their roles. You've also got Jim Henson Studios doing the puppetry again, and Emma Tammy taking the director's chair again. The fact that the original game creator, Scott Cawthon, is involved in this as he was in the first, in an advisory role, that ensures to me that it's going to stick close to the lore that I love. And it brings credibility to this game adaptation series, which many of these adaptations don't have. They don't have the game creators on board. So for that, I'm excited, and I can't wait till this hits theatres in December. Another sequel inbound for 2025 is The Black Phone 2. Again, this looks to repeat the success of the first by adding the original cast like Ethan Hawke and Mason Thames, and also retaining the writers Joe Hill, who's Stephen King's son, and Scott Derrickson, who directed the first. Now, I really enjoyed The Black Phone, but I'm skeptical how they can craft a convincing story to bring the grabber back. The plot for this is completely under wraps, and I'm guessing that's because they're too trying to work out how they make that make sense. That being said, I love the first film, and my bum will be firmly in a seat when this releases in October time. The Saw franchise is one of the most sequeled franchises of all time, with 10 installments already under its belt. But that's not stopping us getting another one this summer. Saw 10 was a huge success, and it was a return to form for the franchise, having had some really duff sequels. I would argue Saw 10 was on a par with the original. Now, there's a couple of ways they can go with this. There is the predicted way we all think they're going to go, where Cecilia's going to be angry because she escaped the final trap and she's going to hunt Jigsaw down, and that's going to lead into the story. However, there is, another rumor circulating online that this is going to tie into the Spiral franchise, the failed Spiral movie in this franchise. And that is going to be the path they want to take future movies down. Now, as bad as that sounds, Tobin Bell is not getting any younger, and the desire for these films is growing again, which means at some point in this series, there is going to be a passing of the torch moment from Jigsaw to another character. And I don't know whether it's done here or whether it's done later, but I think it's going to happen. We'll all get to find out in September when it drops. Megan 2.0. This really is the year of sequels. Megan 2.0 is a continuation of the 2022 story, with the original cast and directors reprising their positions in their original roles. There are no plot details for this yet, but the directors have alluded that will lean heavily into AI technology and will further explain the AI universe. Now, I'm not a big one for predicting movies, but me and my co-host on Horror Movie Review discussed this off air the other day, and we're working on the theory that they're going to go full Terminator 2 with this. And instead of making Megan the killer, they're going to make Megan the protector and introduce a new big bad into the franchise as a way to prolong the franchise length. Because we all know a killer doll going after a child can only go on for so long, and then it has to take a break and come back as a series. Anyway, we'll find out what happens in this in June when it hits theatres. Frankenstein is my pick of film of the year, and there are several reasons for this. We have not had a good adaptation of this since the mid-90s, where we got Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And I think now is the right time to get a Frankenstein story, with things like Lisa Frankenstein being this year or last year, 2024. It's put it back in people's minds, and I think now is the time that this is going to land just right. That, coupled with the fact that Guillermo del Toro is taking the director's chair, and he's added Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein, Mia Goth as Elizabeth, and Jacob Elordi as the monster, I cannot see how this doesn't hit wide praise from critics and fans alike. I don't want to jinx it, but I wouldn't put Oscar nominations out of the realm of possibility for this film. I'm really excited for this. There's no confirmed date on this, but I anticipate it's going to drop sometime around Christmas. Now for a film that isn't a remake or a sequel, which is rare for 2025, but hey, this one shines out to me, and it's one you probably haven't heard of. So this is a sci-fi horror called Ash. Now, I love sci-fi horror. I like the isolation of being stuck in space. I think that's a very scary element. And there's not a lot known about this. It's a relatively unknown cast. It's a relatively unknown director, although he did direct one of the segments in VHS Beyond. There's a brief plot description. A woman wakes up on a distant planet, finds a crew of her space station viciously killed. Her investigation into what happened sets in motion a terrifying chain of events. Now, that's enough for me to go and see this, because I love this kind of stuck in space, isolated horror. Is it an alien? Is it a person? Is it a virus? Like, this for me is up there, and I can't wait to go and see Ash. Five Nights at Freddy's is not the only horror movie video game adaptation in 2025. And the one I am really excited for is Until Dawn. This is an adaptation of the 2015 game of the same name. And it's one of the most terrifying games I've ever played. It's packed with jump scares. It's packed with tense moments, creepy music. It's got everything. Now, the plot for this is under wraps, but I'm going to take a safe gamble here and say they're going to stay somewhat faithful to the game. I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't played the game, because I think this would be excellent going into blind. But you can expect a hell of a lot of violence, some kidnapping, a good amount of jump scares, and fans of the original game will be delighted to hear that Peter Stormare is returning to reprise his role as Dr. Hill. So he'd done the voiceover for the games. He's now going to play that character in the live action. Best thing, we don't have to wait for long for this, because it drops in cinemas on April. Another film I've included in the list is The Conjuring: Last Rites. Now, I loved The Conjuring, and then everything after that, every sequel, every spin-off that created the now known Conjuring universe, I cannot stand. It's like they started so strong, it was innovative, it was new, it was clever, and then they just went, we're just going to follow the horror movie tropes for the 16 or however many movies they've made. But with James Wan heavily involved again, and Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson confirming this will be the very last time they take on the roles of the Warrens, I have high hopes for this. I think they're going to go back to basics. They're going to go back and try and recapture that magic that they know they've lost it along the way. They know they have. The reviews from The Conjuring: Last Rites, not Last Rites, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, tells them that they've done that. So I'm excited for this one, because I think they're going to go back to basics and rebuild this to finish it off right. No plot details, only that it is the last instalment, and I'm sure that's enough to fill every cinema in the country come September when this comes out. Did I expect Bambi the Reckoning to appear on my most anticipated movies of the year list? Absolutely not, but this is where we are. Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 was a great brain off, gore on movie, and the quality step up from Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey was enough to get me actually invested in the characters and invested in the Monsters Assemble Pooniverse that we're now getting. I'm on board to see each one of these installments, but the one that stands out for me the most is Bambi. And I'm excited to see this one because Bambi is a dark story. And who wouldn't want to see Bambi get revenge on the hunters and hunt them down and kill them and stomp on them? Like, this to me sounds great. And we only have to wait until the 7th of February to see it all unfold. Now, these are just a section of my anticipated movies of the year. There's so many more that I do want to see, and I want to know which ones you want to see. So any that I've missed off of your list, drop in the comments below. Maybe when they come out, I'll drop a review here, or maybe we'll even review them on Horror Movie Review. Thank you very much for watching. This is the first video back this year. Maybe I'm a bit rusty. I stumbled and bumbled a little bit, but hey, that's what you get here. I don't edit much. I just give it to you as it is. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been Scott. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good things, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.